Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And I am bringing up the chat on my Kindle so I can see it easier. So what I have just check something, make sure. So just checking, make sure that I am live. So again, I apologize for that jiggling. I just want to make sure that it's not going to do that. I'll just leave it there. I don't want to mess with it anymore. Front man, Biggie Boy, names I've not seen here before. That's okay. That's yeah, I want to keep it family friendly here. But as I was saying, got the mild meals, the vegetarian stew. And of course the accessory items. This one did not come with a cold drink mix, so I got a lemon lime. Dang it. Okay, it seems like my feed is kind of lagging on my tablet, but that's okay. I'm only looking at that. I'm only looking at that for the chat mainly, but I may check the video just to make sure that I'm getting something in camera. And I just have a bag off to the side that I'll be putting my trash in. Because the accessory kit bag, I like to put all the trash together. The accessory bag is not big enough to put the box in, and that's usually what I do for disposing of all the trash. I got water on the stove coming up to a boil. Mother Earth Garden Club is here. Thanks for dropping in. I mix these types of sugar-heavy drinks first because they do take longer to dissolve. And I'll give it a stir later on. This cocoa mix, when I looked at the back of it, it is actually produced by Cisco, the food service company. So Mile Meals contracted with Cisco to get them a bunch of the packets for this particular year, or this production run. Now this is the Maxwell House. I had seen this before in the last bunch of these that I'd gotten when I got the whole case from CT several years ago. Perfect looking coffee. There's Took by V in the house. Thanks for dropping in. And this is a 2016. And this had the entree had a best buy of 2021. I'm going to get these other things out of here. In a minute, I'm just going after the coffee creamer. That creamer looks absolutely perfect. There's Jake in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Again, Mile Meals, certified kosher and some certified halal rations that were produced for the U.S. military. And in some of these listings, I'd seen them reference the Canadian military, but I don't know if that is true or not, that they were issued to Canadian soldiers, but these came from up in Canada. So on that video that I mentioned, if this is true, I would love someone to drop it in the comments, whether or not these are actually issued to Canadian soldiers. I'll be very interested to know that. So now that I've got the drink, the I'm not going to mix up the cocoa mix. I actually want to save that one for another day. Maybe when I do the other mild meals, I'll do the cocoa mix instead of the coffee. So I will put that there. I'm going to go put this in the pot, and then I'll bring back the water for the coffee. And yes, that other community post I put up earlier today, my foreign MRE mug that I had hanging on my mug rack dropped and the handle broke off. So I'm a bit bummed about that. So that one will no longer make any appearances on the channel. I would love to get a replacement for it because I would like to use it again, but not that one. Anyway, I will be right back. I just took the kettle back into the kitchen just to get it out of the way. These mild meals rations were the only ones that I have ever seen have the single serve packets of the Maxwell House instant coffee. There's multi-magnum in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is what's on the menu tonight. See, this has the production date here and then the Best By here for the entree. Now, since a couple of these items are duplicates, for instance, the granola bars, the Cheerios, this is a bulky item, this box. So when La Brioute started doing it, they cut out that bulk. And the same with this bag of the pita chips. Not so much bulk as this box is. These thin packets were not all that great at keeping the items in there fresher longer. That you know, and then the two granola bars, single wrapped. So don't need to bother with that. Don't need to have both of them out there. I will go ahead and start opening all of these other things up. Yeah, Benny, welcome. Thanks for dropping in. Sorry, I cannot do Korean. These chips smell absolutely rancid. But that is what they look like. They smell absolutely rancid. I'm not going to bother with them. So they have gone right into the trash. Now the raisins. And this is just one of those boxes that is not even sealed shut. This would have been in a multiple pack. The outer wrapping might have been sealed. They're extremely dry, except for a few that did stick to the bottom of the box, which I'm getting out. That is all of them out of there. I'm opening up one of the granola bars. It actually smells fine. I do not smell anything wrong with that. Now these power snacks, when they're fresh, they can be pretty good. But we'll see how well these held up over time. It looks like it's starting to open up on the bottom, so maybe that's where I'll open it up. The peanuts smell extremely, they feel extremely oily, and they smell rancid as well. That could be because that particular packet may have been compromised at the bottom, because the bottom opens so easily. This one, I'm having a hard time opening up, so I'm going to go ahead and cheat with that one. Now the sunflower kernels smell a whole lot better. Here's Kent Pet and Family Compound in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is from 2016. I've already tossed the pita chips. They smelled extremely rancid. And I noticed when I was trying to open up the peanuts that the bottom popped open when I was trying to open the top. So that led me to believe that maybe they might have been compromised. But this is the pita chips that were in this package. The peanuts also feel extremely greasy. So I may end up going after this other granola bar anyway, simply because I'm not going to be eating the peanuts, and I'm definitely not eating those pita chips. These granola bars did take a bit of damage inside the packet, but they smell perfectly fine. Get those crumbs back where they belong. Again, I still have this box of Cheerios here. I may get something to put them in. Yeah, I may go ahead and open these up, but I will get something to put those in. But in the meantime, I'm going to go get my main. I'll be right back. I am back. I just used this to carry my entree in from the kitchen, and I have a paper towel that I'm going to start drying it off with. The tear notch goes across this way, so I shake the food down till it gets below the tear notch, and there seems to be only tear notch on one side. Actually, it did start to delaminate right here on the corner, but just barely. Actually, I'm going to give it a little head start. And I'm putting the pouch back into the box upside down. So that is what this lentil stew looks like. There's barley in here. There's potato. There's some red bell pepper. I think the person who asked the last question should know the answer to that. Think logically. Now this cereal appears to be in a Mylar type bag as opposed to a clear one. I'm going to go ahead and dump them out into here. So this is the inside of the bag. So that gave it more protection than it could have had. Even though it was inside of a cardboard box. I'm just going to stuff this back inside the box. They smell old, but I'm not smelling any rancid smell. So I'm going to put these over here next to my drink, my cold drink. CR in the house, thanks for dropping in. I didn't catch your live. I was doing some other things, and I was having my lunch and then I was getting ready to do my comparison video of this My Own Meals and La Brioute. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into this lentil stew. It has pasta in it. That's what these bigger things are. It's a shell pasta next to that piece of potato. It tastes fine. Wouldn't mind a little bit more maybe some more herb flavor in there. But it's plenty salty. It's got corn in it. You can see the lentils in there. And then there's beans in there as well. So there's a bean next to that piece of pasta. The beans are pretty soft. The pasta is soft, but not quite as soft as a bean. So not quite to the al dente state, which you would prefer with pasta, but considering it's been sitting in a retort for 9 years, it's pretty darn good. I'm just going to go back through the chat, see if I don't see much anything new. Yes, make sure you have it on live chat so you're not missing any of the comments. I'm going to give my lemon lime drink a stir. Remember, this one did not come with a cold drink option, but it came with 2 hot drink options. So when I do the other My Own Meals, which again is a pasta, has a pasta entree, and pasta is a main focus of that one, I will try the cocoa mix. And I will save the coffee for another day for either a meal I put together like a ration mashup, or I get something that does not have coffee in it, then I can have my coffee. Now these USMRE drinks that are heavily sugar-based, they take a long time to dissolve. There's Cold War Prepper in the house. This, I have the box. I'm keeping that out of the trash because I'll show it. This has a standard US date code, so this was produced here in the US. 6 is for 2016. And then this is the best buy for the entree. Let's see. I have this cereal box. And this also had a best buy of 2021. So here is the best buy date right here. So you'll find that with a lot of these. Again, the peanut pouch was compromised. I think you can tell that they look. See, I'll actually lift the tray up. See how shiny they look? They should not look like that for roasted and salted peanuts. They should look more like the sunflower kernels. In fact, I'll go ahead and give these a try. Actually, I'll just try one. It tastes old, but I'm not getting that pasty feeling or that numbness. I can still taste the sunflower kernel flavor of it. It still has crunch. So I'm happy with those. Maxwell House coffee, perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with the creamer. And we know how well sugar holds up. Again, these raisins, some of them are extremely dry. And here's a close-up of the raisins. Considering that they were in a cardboard box that was not sealed shut, they held up very well. There's nothing wrong with them, other than some of them are, air got to them from being inside of this bag. Any weird noises, like something being bumped around, that's my cat. She's being active. So in my earlier video, I asked if these were issued to the Canadian military, since some eBay listings do reference the Canadian military. I am curious to know if these were ever issued up there, especially since these two that I got were shipped from Canada. And I would have had them sooner, but the postal service strike up there got in the way of that. I'm going to go in for another bite of this stew. This is pretty good. Would have been nice to have a little bit more of the red bell pepper. In fact, there is a piece of the red bell pepper. Very soft, but I can still taste that red bell pepper flavor. The lentils, again, are very soft, but they're not mushy to the point of dissolving as soon as they go in your mouth, which I like. These are not meant to be cooked in the same way as dal or another, or an Ethiopian cuisine. It would be Kik Alicha. Some of the lentils are cooked down to the point that they they become part of the sauce, and some of them are still whole, just like you might find with dal. But these are not like that. All of the lentils are whole, which is nice. There's Tim Riley in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I like your new little icon there. Instead of just a boring tea, that's nice. Make yourself a little bit more distinct. And so for anyone who has just now popped in, these pita chips they smell completely rancid. They're not going onto the tray at all. So I'll just show the bag. The peanuts, the packet was compromised. It popped open at the bottom when I was initially trying to open the top. And so I went ahead and opened it from the bottom. They are oily to the touch. They smell rancid because the air had gotten to them. But the sunflower kernels, the packet was perfectly intact. There's nothing wrong with them. So I will eat the sunflower kernels. I will not eat the peanuts. These are the oat and honey crunchy Nature Valley granola bars. I went ahead and opened up both of them, since two of the other snacks are not going in my belly. But I will take this little bite of one of the granola bars. That tastes pretty darn good. Nothing wrong with it at all. And getting all the flavors from it, it still has all the crunch. I'm going to take a sip of my lemon lime drink. Again, this drink did not come in the ration. There was no cold drink option. Cocoa and coffee, which is nice. And someone out in the field, when this was fresh, could have made this a breakfast slash lunch, because you had all these snacks. You could have the Cheerios, one of the granola bars, and the raisins for breakfast. Maybe the coffee, and then for lunch you could have had, the chips, the main entree, maybe the other granola bar, and one or both of the snacks, and then have another snack in between. So they could have done it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and try one of these Cheerios. Nothing wrong with that. So those Cheerios are perfectly fine as well. And I'm saving the cocoa mix for another day. The other mild meals, I will try the cocoa mix instead of the coffee and save that one for another day. But considering that the rest of this has held up since 2016, I'm impressed. I'm going to have some more of these raisins. Yeah, other reviewers are finding that out about the 24 US MREs. And no doubt people are annoyed about that. Paul's gear review, he's been opening up some of his 2024s and no coffee. And Smokey the same. It makes you wonder what was going on. Was there a shortage of the coffee that could have gone from Bill's Brew to another source? They could have gone, they could have gone to a food service supplier such as Sysco, Sysco, and sourced it that way, just like My Own Meals did for the coffee that was in these. And La Brie does not have coffee. They do put the hot cocoa mix in, but it's a protein fortified cocoa mix. So they could have gone that route. Or was there another reason why? Now, Sean Hack opened up a 2019 First Strike ration and a 2024. And the accessory pack in both of those had the coffee. So they are in the First Strike rations. Now, it makes you wonder if the latest version of the MCWs, the Meal Cold Weather, do each of those have coffee in there? And then these other things that they're sticking in for a single drink, it's more like a smoothie or a shake, and then that's it, nothing else. Yeah, it makes you wonder what's going on with that. Yeah, and also the salt packet size has gone down in the more recent MREs. They are more on the line of this size. So this would be almost the equivalent of the old salt packet. Of course, if US MRAs had pepper in them, that'd be awesome. But yeah, that is equivalent to the old salt packet size. And now you just get, and sometimes smaller than that. Now, I've seen no salt and pepper packets in boxed lunches that I get when I go to the Transit Rider Advisory Committee meetings, or something similar, maybe from another company, but I have seen those packets elsewhere. I've also seen them in restaurants. So those come from a food service company like Sysco or one of the others. Spicy Tuna Rolls has swam in. Thanks for dropping in. This is what I'm eating tonight, minus some of the items. I'll just go ahead and get rid of this Cheerios box. I'm just using a plastic bag as a trash bag because the accessory kit bag, when I go to dispose of this, I like to put all of the trash into the one bag. But then for our fishy friend here, the peanuts compromised. I'm not eating those. These pita chips are not coming out of the bag. They stink. So they're staying inside of the bag that is serving as my trash bag. The sunflower kernels, perfectly fine. Again, the peanuts, the packet was compromised from the beginning. The Honey Nut Cheerios, a Mylar type bag inside of a sealed box. That held up well. These raisins are a bit dry, but they held up well. In fact, I'm going to eat some more right now. Some of them are a bit dry, but the raisins, nothing wrong with them. These crunchy granola bars, nothing wrong with them either. Maxwell House coffee, very good packet. A very strong packet. Had the red packet Taster's Choice been like that one, I think more of them would have survived. But this vegetarian stew has some good stuff in it. Wouldn't have minded a bit more herb flavor to it, but other than that, it's perfectly fine. Those silver retort pouches are pretty darn tough. And the one corner of one was slightly starting to delaminate, but it was so far from the seal that it didn't come apart anymore while it was in the pot boiling. Yeah, well, when it comes to quakes, our fishy friend has it easy. He can just go out to sea and hang out with his fin-bearing buddies. And also, but speaking of California, you guys over there have gotten some rain, much needed rain, but that is being a double-edged sword because of the fact that in the burned areas, if a lot of rain falls all at once for a long enough period of time, you're going to have ash-filled slides, flooding, and all that debris is going to get caught up into that flood water and go who knows where and destroy more structures or take down trees and power lines and just make even more of a mess. And that will make the recovery process take even longer. I think for a bit of crunch and texture, I'm going to put some of the sunflower kernels in here. Just to see what that does. Unlike a cracker, they won't absorb the sauce, but they'll give a bit of crunch and texture to it. Ooh, that must have been a nasty one. A fire at a power plant? We had a fire at a local marina where several houseboats are docked. We have people here in the state who own houseboats and keep them docked on Sailorville Lake. And something started a fire and destroyed one. There were hydrant problems, so the firefighters had a heck of a time trying to put out the fires on the other boats and on the docks that they are tied to. So no doubt there's an investigation going on as to not only how that fire started and why the hydrants that the firefighters had to use were not working right, and and did they have a means to pump water directly out of the lake? Who knows? Yeah, some people call that guy nuisance. Yeah, there are definitely some things he could have done better. Or if not him, get someone who can actually do something because they have the expertise to do it. Yeah, there. Hopefully, some changes will be made that things like this will get handled in a much better way. Of course, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, where, and how bad. So, people in California definitely need your thoughts and prayers, and whatever help can be put in there. Just like Iowa snowplows went down to Houston, Texas to help them clear snow because they got more snow than they've seen in a long time, and they're not equipped to handle it down there. Just ask Cold War prepper about the snow. Yeah, we don't have snow to remove up here, and we're not going to have any for a while. So several Iowa snowplows went down to Texas to help them out. And I'm sure other states that have plows and drivers to spare have sent them south as well to Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, wherever they're needed. Just like when big storms happen, and like after Hurricane Helene and Milton, Iowa power line workers went down there to back up the locals to get the lines up and running again. And thanks for dropping in, Elsie. Hope to catch you another time. More like next month. Because this will be the last review for this month, because February 1st is coming up next weekend. Yeah, Elsie has some family stuff to do, so that's why she's dipping out early. The sunflower kernels will keep their crunch in the stew. Yeah, if this stew had a meat in it, like chicken or beef, that would add additional flavor as well as protein. Of course, you get protein from the beans and the lentils and then the peanuts and the sunflower kernels. So that's how these would bulk, the vegetarian menus bulk up the protein, is with the snacks. Now, my own meals did make some with meat. I've only had a couple of those. And my kind of chicken, that's the actual name of that particular entree. I've seen that just as a standalone item on eBay. I've had that one before. I should probably, if I can get that one again, just to have it, I may do that. Yeah, I have that. Now, there's some halal menus that, yeah, I have not seen the full list of the most current halal MREs that were done, say, like by Sapaco. I don't know the full menu list because I've never been able to get a hold of a whole case of them. I do want to do that one of these days. But I'm curious if you get at least one of each of the menus. I don't know how many menus there are. I'd have to look that up. Or do you get duplicates, or when you get a case, you get a few, like several duplicates of the same menus. Like when I got that case of my own meals, I had one of one entree and two of another, and at least three of a couple of the other ones. Out of the 12, I did not have 12 different entrees. But all 12 accessory packs were the same. So I don't know why they have so many entree varieties. Why could they not stick more than, say, 4 entrees in a box and have so many duplicates? That would get a little tiresome after a while. I've seen cases on eBay and on Amazon, but some of them they're priced pretty high. Nowhere near as high as the full case of XMRE Halal MREs. They also do Kosher, but I haven't seen a case of those pop up in quite some time. So they are much harder to come by. I don't know if XMRE is still doing that or just not as many. Or they just don't show up on open market as much. I'm going to have another sip of the coffee. Yeah, I was not on for anybody's streams last night because we had our dinner at my mosque and I stayed for probably another hour after we said the night prayer, just cleaning things up, putting things away. People are packing up food to take home. And I brought home several pieces of chicken, some of the beef stew, and rice, and a couple of mandazi breads. And so when I got home, I transferred all that out of the foam carryout into 3 containers with tight-fitting lids. So I divided that up into 3 different meals because that thing was full. So I ate one of those for lunch today. I also did a demonstration on how to make the mango lassi drink, which we serve during Ramadan when it's time to break the fast for the day. And I did the full amount. I am passing that job on to someone else because I am having more issues with my hands. I have the carpal tunnel and I'm getting arthritis. So that numbness shows up when I don't want it to, and that's annoying. But I did it to show some others how to do it, but I will be there every day during Ramadan anyway, just to do other things, but I will step in with that. And at the end of Ramadan last year, a few others did it there with me, kind of guiding them along, just telling them what to do next. But it's mango pulp. It'll be like a mango puree. That's about the consistency of it, maybe a thin puree. And vanilla ice cream and milk. And I made the full amount that we normally make during Ramadan, but served it in bigger cups since we had fewer people attending than we would an iftar dinner during Ramadan. But everybody got to taste it. Nation MRE finds in the house. Thanks for dropping in. You're looking at a 2016 My Own Meals. A couple of the items have already gone south. These peanuts, they're oily to the touch. The pouch had popped open at the bottom when I was trying to open it at the top, so it was compromised. So they have gone rancid. These pita chips are staying in the bag. Even though the bag was sealed, they've already gone rancid though. They did not even make it onto the tray. They're staying in that bag and they're staying in that trash bag. But the sunflower kernels, absolutely fine. The stew is fine. Raisins are good. Granola bars are good. Nature Valley Crunchy Oat and Honey. Each of these 2 bars is individually wrapped instead of a 2-pack. The Honey Nut Cheerios, they're inside of a Mylar bag inside of the little box. So they held up very well. Maxwell House Coffee, that's perfectly fine. The lemon lime drink did not come in the accessory pack. I just added it from my stash. Because of My Own Meals did not come with a cold drink option like the La Briute. Or you get 2 instant iced tea drink packets and you get a protein fortified cocoa mix. No coffee, but the cocoa mix. So you have hot and cold drink options in that, and I showed that in the comparison video that I did earlier this afternoon. And so since I opened up the accessory pack for this one, I decided I'm going to go ahead and review this one since I opened it up. Thanks for dropping in. That Cold War prepper is going to bed. You know, when you got an early morning, you got stuff to do. You got to get your sleep, so that's the way it is. And these raisins held up even though the box that they were in was not sealed shut. I'm guessing that in the packaging line they were taken out of a sealed case or an outer wrapper that had several of those little boxes, like the 6-pack Sunmade boxes that you can get in a store. and then put inside of the accessory bag, and then it gets sealed up. So they're a little bit, some of them are a little bit dry. They're not quite as soft, but they're still perfectly fine. And they're much better tasting than the osmotic raisins that you would get in some U.S. emeries. That osmotic thing, I don't like it. Yeah, that is going to take a long time for all that hurricane damage to get cleaned up. Yeah, I watch a channel from North Carolina, and he has traveled to several different large forests in the state, either state forest or national forest, or unincorporated, or wherever it is. He has seen a lot of damage. And then in the last round of rain that they had, there was more flooding in his part of the state. Yeah. Obviously, for privacy reasons, he does not reveal any towns that are near where he lives. Yeah, because there have been idiots who have tried to troll him, try to figure out where he lives so they could dox him, but that hasn't happened. But he has seen a lot of flood damage that has happened, and he mentioned it in one of his videos, I think last month, or whenever the last big rain that part of North Carolina had. His property got flooded again. Yeah, and the older the osmotic raisins or cranberries get, the worse they taste, and they start to take on an oily feeling just like these peanuts. I'm going to chomp down another handful of these Cheerios. Had these Cheerios been in the same type of bag that you would get when you buy a box of cereal in a store, the kind of a clear wax paper type bag, or that thinner plastic that's not Mylar, I don't think they would have held up. As well as they did, so I'm very happy about that. Yeah, it is a natural. It's something that is added to the fruit during the process. If they stopped doing that, I think more people would be happy, because I'm not the only one who doesn't like it. Took by B is getting out of here. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, that is true. People are trying to scam Californians who were affected by the fires. They're scamming. They're trying to scam people who have lost everything from hurricanes and floods, or who have had some serious medical issues. I get scam texts daily. I report and block the number. I got one. I've gotten some that mentioned the name of the person who previously had my number. So I just reply back, there is no whatever name on this number. And then I report it and block it. I'm not getting so much of the spam emails, but I still report them every time I do. So I'm hoping that the spam filter is learning to block senders like that. Years ago when I was doing home care, one of my clients had identity stolen. And so when I was there, what little I was able to help with trying to suggest what to do. Well, take the cell phone account as suggested to the client to contact a company, yeah, say what happened and that, got scammed and, identity stolen, that other part of the process is being taken care of. So, this person was very stressed out about it. And so that stuff over time got taken care of, and the person got either the accounts recovered or new accounts made, so that, just the person could just go on with life, pay the rent and the bills, get the groceries, get the meds, go see the doctor, all that sort of thing. Go out to the mall. I sometimes took the bus with the client to the grocery store or the mall because that's the type of service that I was doing at the time. I assisted with the shopping. I would pull something down off of a high shelf, or load the bags, carry some, hang some of them off the push handles of the wheelchair or whatever. Oh yeah, just like back in 2019, someone had claimed, while I was on my way home from a family trip to the lake, that I was attacked in my apartment and had called the police, but I never did find out who the supposed friend was. So I'm guessing the caller did not reveal a name or insisted that I not be told who it was. And so 2 cops came out, found no such thing, no evidence of anyone else but my cat being here. I One of my sisters brought me home. I dropped my stuff. I hopped the bus to go to Walgreens to pick up a prescription. It was after I got back from the Walgreens that I got the call. And there have been YouTubers who have been swatted, where someone will call the police and pretending to be either that person or someone who knows that person, saying that this crime is going on or that this person is committing a crime, or say, yeah, I'm suicidal, but they're not even in the same state. They're calling the police closest to where the targeted person lives and say this crap, and then they'll send a heavily armed SWAT team out only to find nothing going on. DeCarlos Perry has slid in. Thanks for dropping in. So this vegetarian stew, packed in 2016. I put some of these sunflower kernels in it. They held up. Honey Nut Cheerios, that's what I got in here. And they held up. The coffee's fine. And Maxwell House is not a bad inch of coffee. I think I might even have a jar of it in my stash somewhere. The Nature Valley Crunchy Oat and Honey Granola Bars. Each one of these two is individually wrapped. They're fine. Raisins held up. Peanuts, not so much. The pouch had a pinhole in it, and when I tried to open the top, the bottom popped. And then I got a hint of that smell, and when I opened it up, poured them out, I saw, and I felt them, they're oily, they're greasy to the touch. They smell bad, but nowhere near as bad as the pita chips. These pita chips that were in the accessory bag, they really stink, so they didn't even come out of this bag. Because of how bad they smell, I'm keeping them in the bag that serves as my trash bag. And after I'm done, I'm going to tie that bag up before I toss it into my kitchen trash. But these Mile Meals did not come with a cold drink option, so I just got a lemon lime from my stash. Yeah, some of them when I get these vast majority of the messages, all they have is a link. They have no text. They have no reply stop to stop them. And some of these that I'm getting are from outside of the U.S. I can tell by the phone number. It has a country code plus the actual number that the sender is using. And there are two different styles of numbers that are coming from this country. And so they immediately get reported. I don't respond to them. The only ones I actually respond to are the ones that say, reply stop or quit. But then I immediately report them. So they are blocked. But for a while I was getting a whole bunch of these strange emails. Again, I just report it. And phone calls. And depending on the caller, what they're doing, and I may respond different. Like, if there's silence, I give them back silence. And other times, when they start blabbing about stuff I know nothing about, I give them blab. And then they hang up. And then I block that number. Thanks for dropping in, Mother Earth. Hope you have a good week. If you missed the video that I put up earlier today, or I did the comparison between the mild meals and La Briute, complete rations, the packaging, contents, packaging styles. I did that. I thought that would be interesting to do. I wanted to do that when I got the La Briutes. So, I got to do that. I got to show the difference between the two. So that's what I did. So I have the La Briute, one that I will open up in a few weeks. And I will use that accessory pack that I opened up. And then the mild meals, I'll probably sit on the other one for a little while. I got some other rations that I want to get to as well. I have the light meal combat that Mike Kosher sent me, along with British ORP in the plastic bag. Apparently there is a newer version of that thanks to Eats Treats and MREs over on the other side of the pond. She has gotten some ORPs that are in a zipper bag, like the Ziploc bags with a slide zipper. She pulled one of those out of the case and a little slider thing had popped off. And some of those bags had not been fully zipped closed. So I would check out Eats, Treats, and MREs, where she's showing some of those. She got a whole case of those, and she's wondering if something was missing from some of them because some of the bags have been opened or not fully closed when they were packed, or what happened to them. She opened up a few of them to show the contents and how, and she described how they have changed from the previous version of the ORP in the sealed plastic bag that you had to cut open, as well as from the boxed ones from years past. And so some things have changed about those. I think I'm just going to use my spork to get the sunflower seeds because it's a lot easier. They're so small. But do check her channel out. She's also on the hunt for some different rations to try out. But these slider zip ORP bags are the newest ones. So I don't think any of those have made it here to the US yet, not that I've seen. But hopefully soon someone on our side of the pond will get a hold of those. To see what those are like. I'm giving my lemon lime another stir because, again, these drinks take a long time to dissolve. Yeah, that's better. Out of this type of US Emery drink, the lemon lime is my favorite. A close second is the raspberry, the little stick packet. That's the sugar-free one. As much as I try to avoid the artificial sweeteners, I really do like that one. I get less of that artificial sweetener aftertaste with it. So that makes me happy. I was just scrolling up on my tablet to see how many are still watching, so thanks for sticking it out. Go ahead and drop a comment. As long as it's respectful and family friendly. You know, ask questions that are good questions that hopefully I can answer. If I can't, well, I'll tell you that. So I will have 4 more Sundays of this before Ramadan. February 2nd will be my next stream. So February 23rd will be the last stream that I do before Ramadan because it starts March 1st. That's what we're guessing. I was looking at another device in my calendar. Assalamu alaikum, Javed. Yes, I am Muslim. I go to a mosque here in Des Moines where I also volunteer at events. We had a dinner there yesterday, so I was there before the Zuhr or midday prayer. And then I stayed until about an hour after the night or Isha prayer, cleaning things up, putting some things away. Tomorrow, I will go and reorganize like any of the plates and bowls or utensils that were left over. I'll just put things away, reorganize. And I'll be spending quite a few more days there as we get ready for Ramadan and our nightly iftar dinners. Now, I have never been on the other side of the ocean. I've only been to Mexico, and that was way back in 1986. I spent a month in Guadalajara. I've been to several U.S. states in addition to the one that I grew up in. I was born in Nebraska, and I switched back and forth between Nebraska and Iowa a few times before I finished high school. And then I went to the state of Arkansas for a few years after that, where I majored in Spanish at the University of Central Arkansas. And it was while I was down there that I got the chance to go to Guadalajara for a month for a summer study program, so I did that. But then I missed Iowa, so after I finished down there, I just came back. I figured there may be more for me up here in Iowa than down in Arkansas, and I figured the public transportation system would be a lot better here. I do not drive. I've never been able to drive and never will, and that's why I like it. So that's how I get around town. If I'm not bumming rides from my relatives or friends, then I ride city buses. Oh, there is Cliff in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Almost everything in this ration made it. As you can tell, the vegetarian stew is gone. I finished off one of the granola bars. Raisins are gone. Peanuts, the pouch is compromised. They feel oily. They smell funky, so I'm not eating them. The pita chips, I opened that bag and that nastiness that was coming out of there was enough to tell me, oh no, those are really bad. The smell coming off of them is about 5 times worse than the peanuts. The sunflower kernels, yeah, they're fine. The Honey Nut Cheerios, no problem. Oh yeah, we are going to be getting dates, and what we do with the dates at the mosque is several people will get a bunch of those little Ziploc snack bags, and they'll put like 3 to 5 dates in those depending on who's doing it. And then you zip those up, and that's how we will portion them out. So we get a bunch of those done ahead of time. Several people are going to be, if not have already started, doing utensil rolls. One woman got a whole mess of those little tapes that catering companies use to wrap around the utensil rolls. You know, with the plastic utensils wrapped inside of a napkin, and then that little piece of tape put around it to keep the roll intact so it doesn't come apart. So we got a whole mess of those, and people have already started doing those rolls. And we are getting the other supplies in as people are able to donate them. So that's what we're doing. I have an item that is on my Amazon subscribe and save that should be coming in about, the beginning of March. The 4-pack of the disinfecting wipes. So that will be coming in. I've taken some of those there already, and I will add the next one that I get. Yeah, we are getting a bunch of those. The 40 packs of the 500 ml bottles. We are getting a bunch of those stacked up. And we are getting, or soon we will be getting, the ingredients for, at least one of the ingredients for the mango lassi drink. The version that we do uses ice cream and milk instead of yogurt with the mango pulp. I did a demonstration yesterday on how to make it using the full batch. I am giving that job up because I'm having issues with my hands. I have the carpal tunnel, where the nerve here gets pinched. I get tingling, and sometimes my fingers want to lock up. In fact, my left fingertips are getting some of that tingling now. So I did that demonstration yesterday to show some others how to do it. But we have been doing that, serving that with the dates when it's time to break the fast for many years, much longer than I have been attending. Ahmed Benassi, I hope I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for dropping in. I have to use my magnifier to look at the Arabic because it is so small. I have to have it really big because my eyes are not the greatest. Yeah, what Ahmed typed in Arabic was Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be with you or peace be upon you. And the answer to that would be wa alaikum salam. So I do these reviews every Sunday at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. With the exception of Ramadan, I do not do it because I am at the mosque every day during Ramadan. I help with setup and things like that. That I will be continuing to do. Plus, I just like being with my brothers and sisters. And the other times I will not be doing these Sunday streams is if I'm with my family at my late dad's favorite Iowa lake. We go there every summer. We stay in the cabins that are there and we do fishing. Last summer the fishing was lousy, but we still try. We cook some of our food over the campfire, or we have a propane stove and a propane cooker called the Blackstone Girdle. One of my sisters owns a small version with 2 heat zones, and you can get the largest version, which has 4 heat zones. Those are good for larger groups. But we have that. And those are our other ways of cooking our food. And because the cabins have power, one of my sisters who uses a CPAP can bring her CPAP and she can get some good sleep and not have to worry about her breathing stopping or snoring as loud as 3 chainsaws going at once. And plus we plug in cell phones, although I carry a power bank. I gave my mom a power bank for her birthday. The year before, in 23, I gave her that. So she can have it on the go. She controls her hearing aids with an app on her phone, so I thought it was very important for her to be able to have power to continue to monitor her hearing aids and make any adjustments that she needs. So that's what I did to help her out. And then last year I gave her a couple of USB-C cords so she can have a few different lengths. Depending on where she's at, she may not always want a 10-footer. She might want a 6-footer or 3-footer, so she has those. Plus, it's good to have a spare in case one craps out. You got another one to fall back on. So, it's my way of helping her stay a little bit better prepared. Got Maxwell House coffee with the creamer and the sugar in the cup. This cup was sent to me by Delicious over in Poland. I don't want to tell it too far because I don't want to spill my coffee. So I do a little bit of that. I help my mom keep supplied on the only chewable antacid that she can tolerate, which is the mint flavored generic of Tums. The other flavored one she cannot handle for some reason. It's the mint. The mint in there settles the stomach. So that's probably why she tolerates it more than the others. And I've only seen them at Walgreens. So that's usually where I get them. When they have them on sale, buy one, get one free, or get one half off, or whatever it is, I grab them. I get a couple bottles specifically for her. Then I have another one that I get for myself. So I help keep her stocked up on those because they also serve as her calcium supplement. Yeah, my family celebrates Christmas, and I just go hang with them. And my mom, I discovered, she is getting into EDC, or everyday carry. A few years ago, I gave her an upgraded pocket flashlight from Olight, which uses one AAA battery, but it's 3 times brighter than the little one, or than the one that she had been using that uses 3 AAAs. So that way she gets more lumens, but only has to use one battery at a time. And because the i3T has 2 different brightnesses that you can switch between, it's more useful, so she likes that. And I gave her one of the Olight O bulbs to have as a battery-powered night light. In case the power in her apartment goes out, she can use that. Reef Noob is an unusual name. I have not seen that here before. Welcome. I do these ration reviews every Sunday with a few exceptions. Another time I might not do a review is if I'm away from home. I'm at an event that's on Sunday and I would not get back home in time. And when that does happen, I will toss up a community post saying that I will not be live on a particular Sunday. And as I will be reminding the viewers, when Ramadan starts, I will not be streaming. So the Sunday after Ramadan ends, I'll get right back at it. For this one that was packed in 2016, most of it has held up well. This is just some of the salt seasoning that was on the sunflower kernels. I'll finish those off. Every September, the 3rd weekend in September, I volunteer at the White Eagle Multicultural Powwow, which takes place at a park outside of Des Moines, and I camp there at the park. I've been doing that for several years, the only exception being 2020 when the big nasty put the squash on so many events. made life pretty dang annoying, so in 2021 we got right back at it. So I do the kids' crafts. I kind of fell into that. I got hooked. I've become friends with the local people here who are members of various indigenous tribes. I'm on the planning committee. I got hooked into that because I got one of those collapsible wagons on Amazon. I wanted one for myself. In case I needed to haul something somewhere where I have to walk on foot. But something happened with the shipping, and Amazon sent a replacement and asked them, and they said, if you do get the first one, you don't have to send it back, you can just keep it. So I would end up with two, but then I thought, I don't need two. I'll just donate the other one to the White Eagle Powwow Planning Committee. And so I made an arrangement to get a ride over to the meeting place. Took the wagon still in the factory box. Said, I got something here that you guys could definitely use. So I present this to you, and then I just stayed and joined the committee. So I've been doing that. And I enjoy helping to spread the word that there needs to be more respect among peoples. And the powwow is done in memory of the founder's son who tried to save a hawk that had got itself caught on a power pole. Unfortunately, the hawk made a sudden wrong move and both got instantly fried. In fact, they were buried together. So, the parents of this young man who worked on power lines for a living, that was what he did. So he tried to use that skill to save this hawk, but it didn't work. But in the end, they tell the story of his courage, and what he wanted to do was to promote respect among peoples. And so what happens is performers that do presentations from their various cultures, other Native American tribes, I think some of the indigenous from Mexico and even Canada. And then we have people that provide demonstrations, say a kung fu demonstration, or hula from Hawaii, or the people that play those ginormous Japanese drums. There may be a belly dancing group. There may be someone doing some dances or other presentation from a particular African country. Things like that. So I've been involved in that for several years. I love it, and I will keep doing that as long as I can. I don't get to camp much because of the fact that I don't drive. I just can't go out anytime I want and go play in the woods. As much as I was like, I have to get someone to take me to a place where I can camp. The past few years, I have not been able to camp with friends because of scheduling issues You know, some of them have had some life events that they've had to deal with. Or I've been busy and I just couldn't get out of town. Of course, with my right knee getting worse, I have no cartilage in it. But I still do as much as I can because I just can't get away from it. And even though I live on disability, I still prep. And so what I do with some of the unused things from rations I open up, like the ration heater, I save those. The utensils from rations, I save those because I use this instead, my titanium spork. Well, Ivy, thanks for coming in. No, the only things that were blah are the snacks that were compromised or had gone rancid. The peanuts, they're compromised. I will not eat those. The pita chips that I never took out of the bag because they were really bad. I showed what they looked like at the beginning. They stink. So this is the bag that they came in. The bag itself was fine, but that's what they look like, but they stink. That's why they did not come out to the tray. And here is the Honey Nut Cheerios that was in a box, or a Mylar bag inside of that little box. That it's like the ones that you can get in the 8-pack in a store, a single serving. This was packed in 2016. So I'll show on the entree box. This first, it says packed here. And this is a military date code. And the way these work is the first digit represents the year. So in this case, 2016. These are not around in 2006, I believe. And then these last three represent the day of the year. The 130th day of 2016 was in this particular entree, was put into the retort pouch, and then that pouch put into this box. And then this is the best buy date of 21. So December of 21 was the best buy date on this. These are not only kosher certified, but halal certified. Some of these mild meals entrees are just kosher certified. These have been replaced since by La Brioute. Thanks for dropping in, Tim. So earlier today I put up a video doing a comparison between the two companies, how they package the items, what they put into the accessory pack. There are some differences. So I put that video up earlier this afternoon. And because I opened up the My Own Meals, I decided to go ahead and review it tonight. The La Brioute one, which has the entree is slightly different, but the one ingredient, the lentils, is the same between the two versions. So I will be reviewing that one on another Sunday. But Maxwell House Instant Coffee was in here. The La Brute has no coffee. It has a hot cocoa mix. The Mile Meals did not have a cold drink, but the La Brute does. Instant iced tea mix. So this Mile Meals has cocoa mix, but I decided that I'm going to say that for another time. When I reviewed the other Mile Meals, I will go ahead and make the cocoa mix instead of the coffee, and I will save the coffee for another time. Again, I will check out all of the snacks to see which ones survived and which ones did not. These Nature Valley Crunchy Oat and Honey Granola Bars. Each bar was individually wrapped. There are two of them. I've finished off one. So I got this one and the crumbs, so I will finish that off because they survived. Well, thanks for dropping in, Axel. Well, a lot of toddlers get the plain Cheerios as a snack. You know, it's easy for little fingers to grab onto like that. And I'm a cereal snacker. You know, sometimes I like to have cereal as a snack. Not always, but I do like that. And as I said earlier, because of the number of snacks in here, if a person wanted to, they could make this more like a 12-hour ration. Have the Cheerios, and maybe there were raisins here. The raisins made it, there's no problem with them. You could have had the raisins, maybe one of the granola bars, and the coffee for your breakfast. Then the lentil stew, the pita chips, maybe the other granola bar, and the cocoa for lunch, and the peanuts and the sunflower kernels for additional snacks throughout the day. Could have done it like that if they wanted, instead of eating it all at once. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how some soldiers who were given this ration could have done it, depending on what they were doing and how much time they had to have, eat a meal. Yeah, I will be finishing off all of this except the peanuts. They're rancid. I'm not eating the pita chips. They're rancid. They stink. Again, it depends on what time a person given this ration would have had to eat. If they had more time, then they could, you could eat more of it. But if you did not have the time, you would eat what you could, pocket the snacks, and have them on the go. And this is a standard U.S. Emery lemon lime drink. It did not come with this ration, so I just pulled it out of my stash. I get extras, for instance, when I get packages from other people, or I buy online. Sometimes I'll get additional items that were taken out of rations for whatever reason, or some websites you can buy whole lots of these, like 10 packets of cheese spreads or 10 packets of peanut butter or jam or jelly or 10 emery pizza slices or whatever. You can get a whole mess of emery drink powders. Yeah. Had these peanuts not been compromised, I would be eating them, but the packet had a tiny hole in it, and when I went to open it, trying to pull it apart like you do your basic potato chip bag, the bottom, it popped and almost set a peanut out of it. So I said, well, I'll just go ahead and open it from the bottom since it already developed the hole. But then I caught the scent, and when I put them out onto the tray, I felt them. They feel and look oily. And based on that alone, the smell tells me that they're compromised, just like the pita chips. I'm not going to eat something that has already gone rancid. If there's a possibility that it might be edible, then I will take a very small bite, maybe even half of that, as a test. And if I get that funky feeling, numbness, maybe tingling, pasty feeling in my mouth, then I know for certain that that thing is no longer edible. So like I said, the peanut packet must have had a tiny hole, or something about it was compromised. But the same company that packed the peanuts also packed the sunflower kernels. Absolutely nothing wrong with those. Those are perfectly fine. So they are gone. In fact, I put a few of the sunflower kernels into the stew to give it a little bit more crunch and texture. I'm not going to risk getting sick just to finish off something that is no longer edible. I'm not doing that. I have opened up rations that were in worse shape, where almost nothing was edible, or the coffee had been compromised, something got into it, or the drink powder, there's something wrong with it. I had one of the older Amories from the 90s that was a very short run. It was called a transitional menu. I really wanted to taste it, but because the pouch had literally filleted itself in the pot as I was heating it up, nope, that's not going to happen. And some of the liquid from inside the pouch, some of the sauce, had started to seep into the boiling water. So after I got finished with that stream, then I just went and found something else to eat because I was still hungry. I do not like to waste food, but if it is compromised, just like when you're checking the items in your food storage, your pantry, if you happen to actually have a pantry, my whole apartment is my pantry because I don't have a dedicated space to store all my food in. But I look at a can, if it if it has changed over time since I originally got it. And other YouTubers have shown what can happen to cans over time if they get bloated or spring a leak, then you know that's not good. You have to get rid of it. And I have had to get rid of a few of mine. Not too many, but I have had to get rid of a few. Yeah, it's the same with peanut butter jars. You check them. When in doubt, throw it out, as they say. And when I'm packing dry food for long-term storage, I try to put it in something that can keep it in good shape for a lot longer, like a Mylar bag with oxygen absorber, except when I'm putting salt or sugar in a bag, or a glass jar, like a canning jar with a lid. I do not put oxygen absorbers in salt and sugar because they will become rock hard. Just like if you have a cardboard box of salt just sitting there on a shelf, it absorbs moisture and it becomes rock hard. I have seen sugar bags, those paper sugar bags in stores. I pick it up. If it feels like a brick, it is a brick. And most of the time, I will usually pass those over, but sometimes I didn't. I went ahead and bought that. And when I do my monthly shopping hauls, I may show that. Say, this is what happens when moisture gets into something. And then later I spend time scratching it, chipping at it to break it up so that it is more usable. But most of the time when I'm shopping, I'm going to buy sugar or salt. I get it if it's still loose. We have had those cardboard salt boxes in the mosque get hard, so I have chipped those. I literally tear the box away from the salt and then I put it into a container with a tight-fitting lid, and then I just take a fork and just start scraping at it to break it up so it's more usable. Yeah, the same with sugar. I've had to do that with sugar because our storage room is very humid, and I have been putting moisture absorbers in there for a few years. So I just put a fresh one in last month. So that should keep things a little drier in there at least until the spring when we start getting more rain. I have a digital thermometer that also measures humidity. I put that in there one day during the summer a few years ago. Humidity was like almost 70%. Actually, I think it was like 72% in there. Not what you want in your long term food storage where you have a lot of dry food that you're trying to keep dry. If it is not in a package that is already moisture proof. And of course, I also took that same thermometer, put it in the kitchen when the 10 burner stove was going full blast with both ovens going. It got up to 117 degrees Fahrenheit. And the humidity in there was pretty high too. That was before we got a little vent window put into the kitchen next to the stove to allow not only heat to escape, but because there is no air conditioning in there, the vent hood, if it overheats, it just shuts down and is not pulling anything out. And because it's a gas stove with two ovens, you got 12 gas pilots lit all the time, and they have to be constantly lit for a natural gas or propane stove because that's just how they work. Otherwise, you would have a gas leak, and that can cause problems. So I'm always checking the burners to see if the pilots are lit. I can't see the pilots in the oven. I have no idea where they are. I can't see them. Just check to see if they're lit or not. But I do check them, at least a stove top. And so that allows that any gas that's burned off also can escape through that little vent window. One and only Nicole, I am not transgender. I have been a female since the day I was conceived. And I will remain that until I die. So assuming something before you know the truth is not good. And it's something that I do not like. That is not family friendly. And I want to keep my channel as family friendly as possible. A polite question would have been more appropriate. Sarge is going after the crumbs from the granola bar. Again, think logically about that question. Would I be able to do what I'm doing now? if I was in such a place. And I'll let you think about that one. I have already said it in a few previous streams. And I think it has been said enough. Think about what you're asking, and think about what is possible and what is not in such a place. This tray was purchased on eBay. A prison tray would most likely look a whole lot different than this. Another YouTuber I watched, who I have not seen any new content from for several years. He's, I believe, up in Canada. He used a tray exactly like this. I wanted another tray to have initially as a backup or just something to switch between. You know, with my 1983 Tupperware lunch tray that is a little bit longer. It's a little bit wider than this. It has the same slim area for utensils like this one does. Two equally sized sections on the right side, and then the remainder, this whole area, is just one open area. I will use that when I have a freeze-dried entree such as from a Norwegian Arctic field ration or a U.S. meal cold weather, which features a freeze-dried entree. Or if I have a ration with two entrees, such as some Chinese rations that I've reviewed in the past. And I could put them side by side. Or I have say a USMRE that has two retort pouches that are heated. I could put them both in that section. And also, if I do not have a large number of sides or snacks or dessert, then I could use that tray also. So it's just something to switch back and forth, just to have another option for presentation of the meal. Yeah, I do not know what a prison tray looks like, but I can assume that it will be a different style. It may be one of those that is thicker and is actually an insulated tray, because the food will have to be transported from the kitchen to the individual cell blocks, and the trays stack on each other with the tray above serving as the lid for the one below. And at the top of the stack would be either an empty tray or just a lid that fits on top of the trays to keep the food hot, or at least warm enough until it gets to the cell block and then handed out to the prisoners. That's what I'm assuming a prison tray would actually look like, something of that style. Where this, it's just thin. Yeah, it's just a thin tray. Yeah, I can't say for a fact that's what a prison tray looks like because I've never been inside of a prison. But I'm assuming that's what those trays might look like. When I bought this tray, it also came with two little green cups. There's a circle here that one of those little cups would go in. One of them has a handle, one does not. But I happen to like the color green. And I thought that tray looked pretty cool, so that's why I wanted to get it. When I initially bought the Tupperware tray back in 1983, a buttercream color was the only color that was available at the time. And that was a fundraiser that my high school class had in order to earn money to put towards our senior class trip. So we did that in 1983. I bought the tray for myself. I bought a couple of items for my mom because she was a big Tupperware user and collector back in the day. I think she might even have a couple of the pieces that I had given to her from way back then. We also collected when we went to a bingo place, and Tupperware items were on the prize table. And so I would, if I won a bingo, I would go to the prize table. I would select a Tupperware item and give it to my mom. Now this is called a drinking jar. This one was actually manufactured by the Ball Company, which makes canning jars. It looks like a canning jar, now used to can your chicken or beef or pork or soup or vegetable or fruit. It takes the same type of lid, but this is purely for drinking. These are not heat tolerant, so you don't want to put a hot drink in it. But it's a cool thing. This one happens to be the replacement of the one that my mom had originally given me years ago. I did not know at the time that they were not heat tolerant, and so I did one too many hot drinks in it, and that one cracked. I did not have the heart, and still do not have the heart, to tell my mom that I broke that jar. But cold drinks go in it. I think it's fun. I think it's funky. Again, this mug came from Delicious in Poland. He has sent me a couple of packages. This one was in the second. Finish off the coffee. This is his YouTube. Now they call it handle. This is his channel logo. He has an English channel where he does videos in English. And then this is his website, which is in Polish, but you can Google translate it. He also has a Polish channel. I have not seen anything on that one come up recently. I am subscribed to that one. I don't speak Polish. I know a few words, but I'm Polish, so I like to support that channel. So whenever he puts something up on it, I can't even remember the name of it now, but I still watch it. So again, the remaining accessory items. This is the same toilet paper roll that you'll get in a standard USMRE. I saved these. I save all these wet wipes. I save all of these plastic utensils. And this is the hot cocoa mix that was in the accessory bag. I will save it for another day. I have one more identical coming up. Got the two candies, which I'll suck on later. Just put them in my pocket. So those items get saved, like the spoon, the wet wipe, and the little toilet paper roll, which I like to call a rear roll. Those become part of my stash of emergency supplies. So in case I have to severely restrict my water usage, I would go to my disposable tableware, plates, cups, bowls, plastic utensils. That way I can save all of my potable or water that is safe to consume for that purpose, for making coffee, heating up a freeze-dried meal, or mixing with a drink powder, or something like that, instead of having to use that to wash something or to gravity flush my toilet. I save my non-potable water for all that purpose. So that's why all these other items will get saved, and I only throw away what is absolute trash. So this will now go into the bag. And so that will be it for this My Own Meals from 2016. Again, I will take a swig in honor of James Ortiz, who has left this life earlier this month. He was a frequent visitor to the Ration review streams, commenting on videos. Yeah, he will be greatly missed. So, James, this drink's for you. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this and done. I hope y'all enjoyed watching this one to look back at My Own Meals, which has been since replaced by La Brioute. I got one of those La Brioute rations up already. The other one will go up fairly soon. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.